Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. I hope all of you had a wonderful, fantastic Easter weekend, but it is time to, get back to work and work off that Easter Sunday meal that hopefully all of you enjoyed out there. I know I certainly did. We've got some more profit-taking in the markets today, and this is the hard part. Today is a great day to buy, but usually, right, Jason, when you have some profit-taking, people tend to want to wait and see because they're always going, well, maybe it'll go a little lower the next day. I think, let's just say this. If it does, what are you're looking out for another, $10, $15. Don't wait, because the problem is you never know what the next piece of news is going to be. And this is kind of how we are here now. Bad news is bad news now, and good news is bad news now. It was the opposite. Remember good news was good news and bad news was good news. Now it's the opposite end of it. We're waiting. We're going to get some inflation data. I think that's the last. And Jason, we've said that's the last critical data point, right? The jobs number we got Friday. Hey, it was lower, and let's face it, it was a lot lower. 100,000 less jobs, but not low enough. And Jason, my guess is when we get the inflation data, we're probably going to see the same thing, right? It was lower. But was it low enough for the Fed to pause? Probably not.
Well, we'll see when that CPI comes out. I think that has a lot to do with where they go on the next decision by the Fed. So we'll see. I mean, and here's the thing. The worst that's going to happen, or I don't know if the worst, the best, it's either going to stay. I think it's going to stay the same. They'll stop raising, or they'll just go a quarter point. So I'm sure everybody acts like this is such a huge emergency, earth-shattering information. But you know what? The situation is what it is. They're not moving it a lot by a quarter point.
Well, one more quarter point or not one more quarter point, like Jason said, nothing really. They want you to believe it's earth-shattering. It isn't. 800-951-0592. That's our toll-free number. AllAmericanGold.com is the website. It is Monday. So we've got Joey joining us, and I'll just say this. If you want, what you want when you're looking at somebody, hey, if someone's going to help me manage my money, help me with my 401k, help me with my IRAs, help me with estate planning, tax planning, whatever it may be, life insurance, the long-term care insurance, right? You want a guy that wants to compete for you. And Joey, I know you'll agree with this. If I taught you and your brother one thing, it was, hey, you better go compete.
That is probably the biggest thing you've taught me and my brother. Nothing is handed to you, and we're going to compete and take pride in everything we do. In everything I do, I've decided I have to give it 110% effort every time in the competing aspect. Basketball, football, college football. I've now turned it into I compete for my clients, and I compete to make sure that their portfolios are right, that we're tracking for their goals, but really compete to make sure that I'm having the best relationships possible with them. A lot of times I come on the show and, we talk about the different planning we can do. I don't think I've ever talked to you guys about my vision and what I want from this financial planning practice and the relationships I want to have. So I want to be someone that we say Happy Easter every holiday. Merry Christmas. How's the family doing? Make things personal. I want to really get to know all of my clients, and my team's big goal this year is we just want to impact 80 different individuals and families and make sure that we're coming into their lives and we're bringing value to them. I stay up every night, making sure that I'm doing everything I can for everyone I talk to. And at the end of the day, all this stuff boils down to having a great relationship with everybody. Right? You just spend time with friends and family. We had a nice Easter. We want to make sure that we're able to have these good holidays. We're able to work together. We're able to have this great cohesive relationship. where at the end of the day, I'm someone you contact when you're looking for advice or just for a life update. You know, this isn't just a planning practice. I want to build a planning practice where we're all connected and we're one big happy family. And I want you to know that I am working my butt off day and night for everyone that becomes a client of mine. And I take this very seriously, and I take a lot of pride in the things we do. And the service that I will be providing to you will be top-notch, and I will make sure that we cover whatever you want to cover and we get things done.
Yeah, and it's so important, right? Especially, you talk about holidays. Hey, let me be the guy in your life so you don't have to worry. You can fly to where your kids are, to where your grandkids are. You can fly them to where you are, right? You want to go take the kids and the grandkids on the big cruise. You and your wife want to go and travel when you're retired. You're the guy that helps those things happen.
Yep, we're the people that help make these things happen. Now, we're not miracle workers where poof, money comes out of the air. But over time, over our conversations, we really start to begin trust. We have that relationship, and we put things into place. And we're not just putting random things into place. We're doing things that matter to you so that you can do those cruises on the holidays. You can fly the kids out to come see you. You can fly to go visit the grandkids. It's really making sure that we're getting the most out of what we want in this life. You know, it's crazy as I get older. Every year just goes by faster. So we want to make sure we're taking advantage of everything and living life to the fullest.
We'll be right back with Joey and Jason and I. Don't touch that dial. (800-951-0592). Joe and Jason. We got my son Joey with us as we do pretty much every Monday. He is from Northwestern Mutual, the best non-banking institution in the world. The reason why I say that is because they're the only AAA rated financial company in the world. And, when you think about that, they're not publicly traded. They're not tied to Wall Street. Joey, you told us last week, no one's got more cash on hand than you guys. It's so funny talking about competing and how we are going to work for all of your clients out there. It's really brought to light, though, during these little mini crises that we're having. And it's funny because we had the same thing happen right before the financial crisis. We had all these many little crises pop up, and the Fed would come out with just ridiculous, it's just a subprime, or the market's a little frothy, or whatever idiotic statements they had to say next. But then people realized, they always think, well, gosh, when I want to, I'll just go get my money. Right, I don't have to do anything today. Right, when I find out, when it finally gets to that point, I'm just going to go and log onto my account and I'm going to transfer my money out of there. And people realized, especially just a few weeks ago, hey, most of these financial institutions were like, oh no. Oh, tell you what, I'll let you have $25,000. Look at Blackstone. They had $4.5 billion worth of redemptions. They only gave out $600 million and said, sorry, that's all we're doing this month. Check back with us next month. That's not how you guys operate.
That's certainly not how we operate or do business with our clients. Your money is your money. And when you want it back, you're going to get it. Right, these banks and all this, it's funny you bring it up. I've had multiple conversations where the same example you brought up. So I can only withdraw $25,000 from my account. They're not letting me take out everything and move it over to different places. And that's just, quite frankly and quite honestly, that is how banks work. They are constantly investing your dollars into different things, whereas Northwestern Mutual, it's not a bank. They're an insurance company too as well, so they're highly regulated. Your cash is safe here. We've got the most cash on hand. We're generating $1 billion in revenue every month to pay back all of our policyholders and all of our clients. But I think the most important thing that gets brushed over a lot when you talk about the financial planning aspect and what company you work for is the relationship you have with the advisor. The person you're working with, would you call them to update you with, hey, what's going on in my family? How are you doing? Check in, talk about sports and everyday problems. If that's someone you wouldn't call and talk about things like that, then you need to get a new planner. Fact of the matter is, this financial planning aspect, it really matters if you have a good relationship with who you're working with and they see eye to eye with your values. Actually, one of my first clients the other day actually sent me a text wishing me happy Easter. It's a KHNC listener, and I absolutely enjoy every day being able to talk to him, and I just love working with people who have the same values as me. Conservative values. They love to compete. They want to get better, and they always know that, hey, we don't know everything and we're learning every day. So I think the biggest thing that I can provide, the biggest value add I bring to the table is just that relationship aspect and knowing and having that security that you've got me and a whole team behind you constantly working our butt off for you. We want to make sure the biggest goal in our practice year over year is 100% client retention, and that happens through reviews, checking in on people, and making sure we're updating everything, and also we're being thoughtful about all the personal things you've got going on in life and getting through these political smoke screens. There's always going to be problems on the horizon. That's just life. So how do we navigate those? And that depends on the situation and what's going on in your life. And we'll make sure that we're going to update things. And if you're ever uncomfortable, we'll talk about it. We'll tackle that right away. We want to make sure there's zero uncomfortability and there's 100% transparency. Because the more we know, the more we can help. And the more you know, the more I can help.
Joey, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, just reach me at my personal cell phone. That is 602-909-9048. Again, that's 602-909-9048. Please reach out to me if you have questions, you have uncertainty with the markets, you don't know what's going on. My 401k account went down 30%. I'm about to retire. If you want to work with someone who's going to value the relationship and really take the time to work with you and make sure we're doing the right things, give me a buzz. Let's walk through everything. Let's introduce each other, and let's see what we can do to provide value to your situation.
There you have it. That is my son, Joey. By the way, his mom would be mad if I didn't mention, because we talked about how we love to compete and compete in sports. He also graduated cum laude with a finance degree, so he competes all over the place. So, and that's what you need, right? No offense to other people out there. You know, a lot of people out there, they're comfortable. They don't care. Hey, I don't want to be the best. I'm just going to do my job and I'm going to set up a plan once and then, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do any more than that. You don't want that guy. You want the guy that's like, no, I want to be the best of the best. I want to be the best in my office. I want to be in the best office. Why do you think Joey's in Chicago? He could have been in an office in Greeley, Colorado, or Scottsdale, Arizona, but he's like, no, where's the best office? Where is it? Because that's where I want to be, because I want to compete against the best. And when you have that, by default, you're going to be better off. I mean, it's just that simple, right, Jason?
Yeah. Competing is good for any industry as a whole. It's why people love watching sports, is because you usually have the best competing against each other. And so, that's the problem we're having financially in this world. Is there is a lack of competition going on. There is,
exactly.
It's old Rockefeller, right? Competition is a sin, because, hey, if you own the whole thing and you decide the rules, and then you can relax, right? The Rockefellers can relax. They don't have as much competition anymore, Joe. They crushed it all, right? And so we get a lower
We got rid of all of it. And listen, That's exactly what they're doing in the banking industry. When Ronald Reagan was president, we had over 16,000 banks. We're down to 4,000. And I got a feeling if the Fed had their way, we'd be down to 40. Joey, I know you got a meeting to get to. Give out that contact information one last time, and any final thoughts for today.
Yeah, reach me at my personal cell, 602-909-9048. And I guess final thoughts on the day we're talking about competing. I don't know what it is, Dad, what you've instilled into me, but it's kind of like a sickness and a disease. We just can't settle, and we can't be average. Always feel that I need to go above and beyond, and that's what we're doing with this financial planning practice. We're going above and beyond for our clients. At the end of the day, I don't make a living if I can't get trust from people I work with. So we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that we can help you out, and we're going to put the man hours behind the scenes so that when we do come to these conversations, we do put things together. We've got a plan laid out for you, and we're always making sure that the plan is detailed and based around the goals that you're trying to have. But yeah, please reach out to me. If you want to work with people who are hungry and they're committed to helping you out and giving you a better financial lifestyle, we're people you should partner up with, and we look forward to chatting with each and every one of you. Hope everyone had a great Easter. Happy Monday, and let's have a great week.
All right, there you have it. That is my son. I'm proud as hell with him, and my wife did a great job. She really, really did. I had a very small part in all of that, but I'll tell you what. You know what? It's just like we do here. You know what? Like we do with Patriot. Jason and I, we're out here competing. We're competing against all the other gold companies. 1360, we're competing against all the other radio stations. Speaking of competing, China, they're competing, aren't they? They're in the middle of a war games exercise. They just cut off the Taiwanese Strait. They got their aircraft carriers out. They had something like 60 airplanes buzz the Tower of Taiwan. And then, of course, March, China's already announced, hey, we bought another 18 more tons of gold in March. Jason, it is unrelenting, the seat at the table that the Chinese want in this central bank gold buying. I keep thinking, man, the price is going to go up. It's going to slow down. There has been no slowdown in the buying from these central banks.
Yeah, Joe, we don't have the answers as to what the future of these markets are going to be, but I think there's definitely people in certain places in society that I think they have an idea where they think markets and the economy is going. And let's just say they know where they think the gold price is going to be. Let's just say, hey, we're bringing in digital currency. This is where things are headed. And if they know, let's just say, hey, gold is going to rest at 8,000. Let's say they knew that. Well, then buying at 2,500 is not a problem, is it, Joe? That's how you had made a mention about a week or two ago that you didn't think we'd break last year's record for central bank and government buying of gold, but we don't have that piece of the puzzle. Does somebody know that gold is going to do a triple fold or a quadruple fold over the next few years? Then buying it at 2,000 and buying it at 2,500 is not going to be a problem. We'll have another record year.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And people, again, they don't want you to know history. Right, the last time we saw gold buying like this really was the World War II was over. It started in the mid to later 50s. And it didn't end until Nixon closed the gold window in 1971. Well, look at where we're at today. It started all over again, didn't it, with the financial crisis. And you got to remember, all through the 90s and into the first early part of the 2000s, the central banks, and primarily when we say central bank, Europe, they were selling their gold. They were selling 400 to 500 metric tons a year, every year. And now you're talking about last year, we broke the record. Just under 1,200 metric tons of gold purchased. But we've had central bank gold buying going on now for the last 15 years. And, of course, it was just like leading up to 1971, right? In the 60s, and especially the late 60s, they started buying a lot of gold. And, Jason, there is no gold standard to come off of this time. right? There is no other place to go here, and it looks like we're going to see a situation where all of a sudden everybody's out there saying, hey, you know what, this fiat money thing, you better have something else to go along with it. You better have a hedge against that fiat money, because if you don't, there's going to be problems. And that's why you're seeing, I obviously, like, hey, China, they're huge, right? India, right? Russia, Turkey, right? Brazil, right? These are big countries. But there's also tons of small countries, Singapore and Poland and Hungary and all these. Jason, it seems like it is the newest thing.
Joe, it's interesting because for central banks, back in the 50s and 60s, there wasn't a central bank in every country that was doing business with everybody else. But now they have that situation. And so I think for the central banks, the problem would be not that all the banks go bust. That doesn't bother them. They print the money. If currency started collapsing all over the place, that could be a problem for them. So it's funny how all these countries are balancing their gold holdings all at once.
Yeah, very good point. Patriot Radio News Hour will be back after the break.